Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new, and if you're new, please subscribe. So we are on the third part of our late unboxing review of B-191 Overdrive Special Starter Set, and on this video we are going to review none other than Denjarasu Belial. So here it is in low mode. There you have it. I'm not a fan of the design of the chip. I just don't like it. I feel like you'll get confused which one is the right orientation, and overall I just don't like it. But it's cool because it has a cool gimmick. I just prefer how this looks more compared to this one. This is high mode without flipping the discs part yet. So there it is, and I'll just show you how to flip this. Okay, so I'm gonna proceed already with the gimmick. It has a bound gimmick. Now we are going to kinda remove the gap. So that is high mode with this flip to be on top. There. Now let's talk about the parts. So just like the other base, they also included here an old part. I wish they would give us a new Beyblade with all of the parts being new, but yeah. They gave us two. And yeah, they gave us two. So you've already seen this a lot of times, so I'm not going to be talking about this anymore. So first is the core chip. Again, I do not like the design, but it is what it is. It has a burst stopper gimmick. Somehow I'm still not able to get to activate this. I mean, I've been launching hard like crazy, but yeah, it seems to be very stiff initially. But you can push it with your finger, but yeah, it's hard. How do you push it back? There, you have to force it, and eventually it would probably wear down that part where it's clicking or locking, but for now I can't really seem to activate this. I don't know if it's just my copy, but it's hard. Like, I've been launching crazy hard, but it doesn't activate. It doesn't have metal except for those rivets right there. Yeah, but that's it. Next is the blade. Dangerous blade. Now, it initially you can already suspect whether the gears would fit this, because it has, hollow parts like this, and it's really thin. Do you know that this is the third lightest blade? That's my only problem with this, and it's reasonable though, because they expect us to use the gears. But what if I don't want to use the gear? Because if I use the L gear, this will be in permanent high mode. If I use the F gear, this would be more defensive. So what if I just wanted to use this for attack in low mode? So to compensate for those weight, is probably just use a heavy disc, a heavy core chip like Perseus. But yeah, this is really shaped in a way that it would produce, strong recoil. So I think this is going to be a good attack blade. I don't know if it's going to be better than Savior. I'm going to do a test battle. I'm gonna do a testing video for these two. I'm gonna compare them. But as it is, I like its shape compared to Dynamite. But yeah, later I'll show you how to put all the gears, although you've probably seen it tons of times in other videos. So this is the metal component of the driver All Might. It is shaped just like Nexus. So you can already see that the S gear can be used here. I don't see any stars, so I don't think they didn't put that feature on this disc. So it is reversible, and it has those grooves. See there? That will line up with this part right here. Now, the combined weight of this is heavier than Generate, but it's lighter than Ignition Dash, and it's lighter than Shot. So it's also a light combination compared to Shot. Now let's take a look at the gimmick. Also, I'm having a hard time activating this. You really have to launch it hard, but I have more success with the gimmick of this compared to the overdrive gimmick of the chip. So basically, if you launch it hard, that stamina tip right there is going to go inside, and you will have an attack tip. This is not like shot that will change midway the battle. No, it depends on your launch. So if you do not want a self-KOing Beyblade, I would rather you stick with the stamina tip, because this is so out of control. Like, it's way more out of control than shot. Like, I've self-KO'd with this so many times since I have to launch it really hard to activate this. So many times. This is so self-KO prone. So yeah, you would just want to stay with that stamina tip right there, and it will keep this in free spin mode. See, if you do get to activate it, and then it will just go crazy. Now, something that to take note of, as you can see, this side is not even with the other side, so this is like cut lower, and the purpose is this is so that you can remove the V gear easily. So now I'm going to show you all the gears. So first is the S gear. It is placed here at the same way as with Nexus. You have to decide which orientation you want the S gear to be, because with Dynamite Belial you only have 2 modes. With this you actually have 4 options, because remember, let's say we do this, right? Okay, so it's not free spinning, right? And it's right spin. So this contact point, this sharp contact point, is the one that's going to hit the opponent, right? Right. But if you flip it, it becomes more defensive. It's not free spin, but it's more the defensive side of the S gear. So that's something you have to consider. So if you want a flip version, but the more aggressive side, then you will have to you cannot achieve that. Then you cannot achieve that, because once you turn this around, all right, now it's in its defensive form. If you flip it, it's going to be in an attack form. It's going to be in its attack mode, but it's free spinning. So more aggressive contact point, but it's free spinning. More defensive contact point, but it's free spinning. So it's crazy. So both modes will have a defensive and attack type contact points. So here it's attack. If you flip it, it's more defensive, but it's not free spinning. So it's just something that you should consider. Now, this is how you attach the V gear. You don't have to twist it like in Nexus. So see that white part right there? That's going to lock onto this. But first you have to hook it here. So hook it there. Already hooked it. And then you can push it. And then if you want to remove it, you just click on this. And see this part right here that's been cut out? See that space? You just have to press this, right? So that's the purpose of that. Now, another thing to take note of. If the Beyblade is assembled and there is a disc, there is no way you can remove the V gear unless you disassemble the combo. Because look at this. There's no way you can press that if the disc is hindering its way. So you can't. Now, what happens if this activates? Remember, the deactivation tab is there. So you can't reach it with your nail. You have to get something sharp to actually reach for it. So it's such a hassle. So, for example, you activate it and then you're going to use it in the next round and you want to deactivate it, you have to use some kind of a tool, or else you will have to disassemble everything so that you can remove the S gear, the V gear, so that you will be able to push this and then put back the V gear and then assemble again your combo. So it's just something to take note of. Again, it's going to be a hassle, especially if you're in a tournament and you're taking too much time. It's kind of inconvenient to your opponent, but yeah, that's something to take note of. Now let's put the F gear and the L gear. Okay, so that makes it thicker. It's not as defensive and as round as if you put the F gear on Dynamite Belial, which is kind of good if you are more into attack combos like me. So it's actually thick and it's not as defensive compared to when you put the F gear on Dynamite Belial. This is actually still exposing these 3 blades. But yeah, remember this rubber is not for attack. It's too smooth and the shape is not really that aggressive. It's more on spin equalization really and defense. So as much as possible you want the blades to protrude more. And if ever I'm gonna use this on as an attack combo, I would probably not use a DB disc because I don't want this to be in high mode. But here it is. Here it is with all the gears. It's perfect Denjarasu Belial. There you go. Oh, I forgot to mention. These red part are rubber and they're really hard. So they're also good for attack. They remind me of 2A from Brave Valkyrie, but this feels way harder than 2A. So, well, the overall look of this is like a mix between Savior Valkyrie, the red one, and Dynamite Belial. But yeah, so here it is, and it has that bound gimmick. Now, if you want to remove that gap, all you need to do is, of course, flip this. And there you go, you don't see the gap anymore. And this is probably the best configuration for this. High mode with no gap. Yeah, this is going to be probably the best version of perfect Denjarasu Belial if you want it to be, you know, aggressive for attack. But in stock combo, we have a problem with this. It's too aggressive and it loses balance because look at how much weight it has on top. It's very top heavy. This is easy to destabilize. So yeah, I prefer this to be in stamina mode. So I don't think I want to actually activate this. And it is such a hassle to, you know, click on that tab. And of course, we don't need to use this. So perfect. So that's it for this video. I will be making separate videos for the battle so that we can just focus on the review and focus on the battles. I will be battling this with other DB bays and Super Kings as well. And I might probably battle this with Dynamite Belial and Perfect Belial. You know, just some additional inputs. In low mode, it is actually quite tall. So yeah, in low mode already, this is easy to destabilize. Especially if you change to high mode, because this will become top heavy. Next, I've mentioned that if you keep it on stamina mode, you will not be as out of control as if you activate this. But actually, if you can see, there is just really a slight difference in height, and this part right here still touches the stadium just by the slightest tilt. So I don't like the part that it's so out of control. It is way more out of control than shot, but it is what it is. So you really have to practice launching this if this is a driver that you want to use. You will see it in the battle videos that I'm gonna make. I'm gonna do some test launches as well prior to the battle. But yeah, plus if you put the V here, it becomes even more out of control. So good luck with this. Although you can go crazy in one stadium, and you know what that is? The DB stadium is best for the drivers that go out of control, because there's a lesser chance of actually self-KOing there. So yeah, that's the place that we'll probably be using these instead of the standard stadium. But I'm also going to be doing it in standard stadium so that you can compare. So yeah, that's it.